Hello everyone, good evening and welcome and well zooming everyone. Thank you very much as usual. Thank you for being here and making our class continue because of your attendance, not because I'm teaching. Maybe vice versa, I think. Okay, so we will do the refuge. Refuge need renewed so many more times than we usually do. We have to remember the importance of the refuge that we found and discovered whenever that time was, and it's even more valid as our life progresses in situations. So therefore, as we bring our refuge, particularly with the subject we've been learning, is all about the qualities of enlightenment. And what is enlightenment? What is bodhicitta? What is Buddha? What is Dharma? Now we have actually some understanding who we take refuge to and who we do not take refuge to. We have opportunity to really revalidate daily that our refuge is in the full enlightenment of the Buddha, and therefore qualities we've been talking about. Incredible achievement of total renunciation of all the afflictions and accomplishment of all the qualities from the way he lived the last life, which is the culmination of 500 or more lives as a bodhisattva, as well as living many other lives. So we have very good reason to not only know the qualities, but qualities of Buddha. And so rejoicing the qualities of Buddha, because qualities of Buddha is not personal qualities, it has amazing ramification and effect like the sun and its power. It has to every single person who put a little solar panel. And everybody, you cannot put any solar power unless there's a solar sun. So that fact that we can all magnetize and rejoice the bright sunlit light is because there is the sun. One of the English poets wrote many poems in honor of the Buddha called Light of Asia. It's Arnold somebody, isn't it? Arnold? Edward Arnold, yeah. He wrote Light of Asia. He thought it was just light, it was just for Asia. I think that was in 18th century, so I think he will rewrite it if he wrote it now. The title would be Light of the World, I think. Anyway, so rejoicing, reflecting, as we chant our refuge prayer, we need to be delightfully rejoicing the quality of the Buddha, which we have heard a lot, and relishing them, rejoicing them, and then make a little reaffirmation to follow the best as we can to practice the way of the Buddha, and be kind to fellow sentient beings, and particularly those who don't have any dharma, who have only material world, and which has battered them so badly in recent months and years, particularly of their personal karma. Understand them, try to see that they're not bad, they just don't know the dharma, they don't know the way, they haven't been taught. And so be really kind to others who are particularly difficult. That's real dharma, Real dharma is not running away from difficulties. Buddha faced his demon. Real dharma is including others who are difficult and try to understand and support them. Not trying to escape and try to run away. That's people think that's maybe renunciation, but I don't think that's renunciation. That's escapism. So we have to use the refuge, try to use the situations to bring them and us both in refuge. And so we have, renewal refuges to promise to be inclusive of others, not try to run away or escape from others. So with this in mind, we'll do the prayers. Thank you, everybody. O yenda Buddha Dhamma Asanga Vajra Refuge Lama Vajra Handala Ajara Buddha Vajra and Buddha Dhamma Asanga Vajra Refuge Lama Vajra Handala Ajara Buddha Vajra and Buddha Dhamma Asanga Vajra Refuge Lama Vajra Handala Ajara Buddha Vajra. May all beings have happiness and the cause of happiness. May they be free from suffering and the cause of suffering. May they never part from the happiness that knows no suffering. May they dwell in equanimity, free from attachment, aversion, of those near and far. May all beings have happiness and cause of happiness. May they be free from suffering and the cause of suffering. May they never part from happiness that knows no suffering. May they dwell in equanimity, free from attachment, aversion to those near and far. May all beings have happiness and the cause of happiness. May they be free from suffering and the cause of suffering. May they never part from the happiness that knows no suffering. May they dwell equanimity, free from attachment and aversion to the near and far. According to the intelligence and bread possession of it, where the Uttaratantra agrelo and come goals. So thank you everyone once again. Now we are continuing the study of Asanga's monumental 5 works, and out of which this is the one of the 5. The Uttaratantra Shastra is one of the 3 main works out of the 5 works, which are used as a curriculum among those people who study 15, 20 years in the monasteries to become geshes or great scholars. This is one of those 18 textbooks. Some people don't study 18, only study 13, but Anyway, so we have been going through quite a lot of them, and we have finished the sixth Vajra point, and that was the enlightenment, the qualities of Buddhahood. And so today we are starting the seventh Vajra point. Seventh Vajra point is the enlightened activities. So the enlightened activities are the activities which benefits and matures, ripens others. We were talking in the qualities, out of the 64 qualities, the last 32 were the 32 qualities of the excellent marks, excellent enlightened marks. So the excellent enlightened marks is the activities that make this amazing engraving on the people's mind. So it's not so much the Buddha's fingers webbed or he's got aura around his. These are physical features, but what does they do? They leave a mark on everyone through the enlightened activities. So the enlightened activities is the seventh of the seven Vajra points, which has the biggest kind of a legacy. The enlightened activities is legacy of the Buddhahood. It is said that the Buddha Dharma will live for 5,000 years. What does it mean? Its activities, its benefit, its function of maturing, ripening, benefiting, helping, enlightening others will last for 5,000 years. It doesn't mean Buddhism will be studied in school every school for 5,000 years and people will get high marks and get degrees. It doesn't mean that. It means it will continue to benefit people, ripen people, soften people, pacify them. And so tonight onwards we will look at all those enlightened activities. Tilnem, we call in Tibetan, Tilnem means enlightened activities. So it's incredible, really. The enlightened activities, all the Buddha Dharma today we have, and our own fellowship is the part of that enlightened activities. The ramification, the consequences of the enlightenment of the Buddha in Bodh Gaya, We talked about qualities of the Buddha. What does the qualities do, People want to develop qualities, so the qualities are not to just show off. Quality actually affect people. Quality remedies suffering. Qualities clarify people's confusion. It completely shapes and molds people's life in a way they thought they were never possible. So we will go through this now. So the text before you, I think we have sent you the handout, and so I didn't get to print enough tonight because I ran out of paper. So next week that wouldn't happen. So sorry to those of you who haven't got a physical handout, but if you have received them an email, I'm sure you can access through your phone. So the enlightened activities are here. Firstly, it lists two enlightened activities. These two enlightened activities are spontaneous enlightened activities. So Buddha's activity is spontaneously helping us already. It doesn't have to start few years and then start having effect in 20 years later. It's almost spontaneously helps you. Moment you put your solar panel, and then instance is simultaneous, spontaneously solar power works. So spontaneous activities and unceasing activities, these are the two. Unceasing means there's no time it interrupts or intermittently, and it's not seasonal. It's not that not today will work, on full moons it works, other times Buddha no, it's unceasing. These are two. So Lingyundrupa means that spontaneously, simultaneously, as soon as you turn to Dharma, it simultaneously changes you. with respect to the temperaments of students, the means for training them, the function of trainings that are appropriately directed to the temperaments, time, place, the all-pervasive always engages in spontaneous activities. So what does this mean is that the spontaneous activities of enlightenment works in relation to each student's, each devotee's temperament. It suits everybody. The Dharma, there isn't people who say, Dharma is not for me, Everybody will see some truth in it. Some people might be karmically not tuned it for whatever kind of a obstacle they might have, but everybody will find something in the Dharma that suits to their temperaments, the manner in which Buddha taught them, means of training them. All the various teachings in the Vinaya, how Buddha constituted each of the Vinaya rules, shows that how he tailored them accordingly, For instance, there are many cases. The one case to do with there was one girl who was very much attracted to Ananda, and she belonged to the lowest caste in India, Shudra, and Ananda was, of course, Buddha's cousin and a very towering figure in Buddhism, and so he was working very hard to make sure the women are trained, women are given ordination, and so on and so forth. So he was highly revered, but Ananda was a little bit in trouble because this girl has completely infatuated by Ananda, so the Ananda was she wouldn't leave him alone, And so Ananda quickly turned to the Buddha. He said, where can I go that this person will not find me anymore because she's just constantly stalking him. And Ananda was very, very handsome. And Ananda had many reasons why he helped the woman, but on that level, his appearance became more of a hindrance for him because everybody else, because when she heard that Ananda is helping the woman in general, because women has not been allowed to receive ordination, and his aunt make persistent effort, and finally Ananda was very compassionate, and so when they heard that Buddha was going to ordain women now as a result of Ananda's intervention request, and there will be no discrimination with which caste they came from, and then that attracted to the kind of peoples, and so this girl who came from the low caste also got very inspired, and so when she inspired to come and but she didn't want to get ordained, she was interested in Ananda, so not because she was interested in Ananda, but she just couldn't turn her mind off Ananda. See. And then what happened was, and then finally Ananda made to see Buddha saying, this girl wouldn't leave me, and I couldn't go wherever I can't avoid her. And Buddha said, bring her, come together, come together. Buddha said, come together. Because the fact that she was allowed to come with Ananda in the presence of the Buddha to talk about it, was itself, the lady felt really very included, because Buddha was skillful to make sure that she was included. She was not treated with contempt, saying that how dare you follow my disciple and he's a monk. All kinds of wrong things could be said, and you will lose her. But he just encouraged her to come, and then after a while, then Buddha told Ananda, you can go aside, I'll talk to her alone, and then then Buddha said, okay, now you really want Ananda ready? And she said, yes, I can't stop it, I just Buddha could see their past karma, past karma. In the past karma, Ananda was a low caste, and she was a really high caste, and they were a couple, and they have split for whatever reasons for in that life. Buddha could foresee all of that. Now so she's come back to meet him. Of course, she doesn't know that. Anyway, Buddha asked the lady. She says, "So why you want Ananda so badly?" She says, "I like every bit of his body, from top of his head down to his toes. I can't." Any part, every part of his body is so beautiful. I cannot stop desiring him. So, and this is so. Buddha said, "Okay, yes." He says, "So you think you like his eyes?" She said, "Yes." "Are you really sure?" He says, "Okay." He says, "Okay, you can have the eyes. You can have the eyes with eye wax." And you can have his ears with ear wax. You can have his nose with all the snots. You can have the mouth with all the mucus, particularly when he's sick. And so Buddha was, and Buddha skillfully trained her to the extent of developing renunciation. Developing renunciation. Buddha said here, you two have very much unfinished karma from past life, so you are deluded in thinking he's attractive or something. But otherwise, every other Shakya woman or every other woman that were inspired by Ananda were not distracted by him, but they weren't ordained. So it's you meant to be also ordained, and that is Ananda's repayment of your love or whatever from past life. So you should not desire Ananda, but aspire arhathood and liberation by practicing. And of course, she was so fortunate to Buddha give such an amazing personal teaching, and she attained arhathood. So we're talking about Buddha's activity was such skillful that he would have conversation like that, and so means training them. He knows the temperaments. He didn't reject her. He just made her to come and talk, and so. And then his teaching was so useful, was appropriate to her, to where she was, and because his enlightened activities spontaneously want to help her, and she didn't become an outcast, which was mainly largely seems to be causing by her own choice of aspiration. Instead of getting ordained, she wanted to follow Ananda. Everybody was inspired by Ananda because they at least persuaded Buddha to ordain women, whereas she was the only one who's wanting him instead. So Buddha's enlightened spontaneous activities was pervasive. Everybody got ordained, and she was no exception. Not only that, she got arhathood. She got arhathood, which not many of the women necessarily attained arhathood just because they were ordained, but because her temperament was so desirous, and Buddha used her desire to direct the desire to the right cause. He didn't deny her desire, but he made her desire to make him see through what she's really desiring is undesirable, really. What she's really desiring should be enlightenment, like every other woman came and did ordination for. So there's a lot of story about that. This I'm just giving you an example of how every other people who met then. Not only that, even today, I'm sure the teaching of Buddha is spontaneously pervading you, touching you, like a water is poured into sand. It doesn't leave any sand dry. Likewise, the enlightened activities Buddha is engaged engaging in every nook and crook of your life's difficulties, when you really turn to Dharma, it spontaneously changes you in a way you thought was not possible. You never thought you could heal. You could never know you could forgive. You never thought all of this. So that's what it's saying. With respect to the temperaments of students like us, the means of training them, whatever you have heard, the teachings, whether it's renunciation focus or bodhicitta focus, because largely this text is bodhicitta focus, remember? Bodhicitta focus, if by hearing that bodhicitta and altruism, and it would have appropriately suited to your temperament in this time of your life and this particular year of great terrible tragedy of the pandemic and so on. This teaching has spontaneously pervaded your life, and therefore the spontaneous activities of the Buddha's qualities, enlightenment qualities, the activities of the Buddha is already pervading your life. It's soaking your life. Yeah. Some of the changes you're making, your decision to study Tuesday night is only a small part of it. I mean, even that to do every week is pretty impressive, really. Because people say, let's see how it's like for 1 week, and then never show up. Huh? And not only that, but every nook and crook of your life is also somewhat influenced by the spontaneous activities of the Buddha. Because it's timely. You're needing just you're needing Dharma. It could not have come at any earlier or later. You need it just then, and you got it. So time and place and all these situations. So that is just a brief description of the spontaneous activities of the Buddha. Spontaneous meaning it's just a simultaneous. As soon as you expose your mind to the Dharma and its various teaching, it changes you. It makes you to drop this point this way, and therefore it is permeating, all pervasive. Always engages. Buddha activities always engages and changes you and makes you to drop things, adopt new things as spontaneous enlightened activities. It's like the power of the water if you pour on your indoor plant. If you forgot to pour water, then the power of the plant looks very sad. But as soon as you pour water, spontaneously the plants come alive. So if you practice Dharma, if you practice kindness, if you practice forgiveness, if you practice loving kindness, and then stop ill will, resentment, guilt, and anger, spontaneously you'll find forgiving power. You will find intelligent emotion. You will have the discipline to meditate. You have time to practice all of these spontaneous activities. So we're not talking about some kind of mystical activities of the Buddha to a spectacle for people to watch. We're not talking about that. Buddha activity is not interested in showing miracles out there, try to gather the crowd. No, it is actually changing people, their troubled mind, and their wrong decisions. And they realize once they really have met the Dharma, the enlightened activities will influence them, change them, heal them, and they were able to deal them very efficiently. That's what really spontaneous activity is. Then the second activity is uninterrupted, unceasing activities. So unceasing activities is that due to the cause of the deep meditation and realization of the Buddha, so when it says the mighty sea of primordial wisdom. The mighty sea here refers to the deep meditative practices from which Buddha developed the wisdom. Yeah, the water here is the kind of continuity which it never dries. The water never dries, nor does the enlightened activities. Yeah, so the sea water never dries. I don't know when it will, and particularly the mighty sea of the enlightened activities of the wisdom of the Buddha, filled with a multitude of gems. Yeah, these are not just wet. This is just not the wetness not drying, but the water is filled with gems. You wouldn't believe how much the ocean got many riches. Coral, you just name it, the gas, the few things that human beings can mine, But there's much more. The sea, without the sea, our world will dry up. There will be no crops. Sea is the one that actually creates the clouds and then all the rain and all the crops, all of this filled with multitude of gem like excellent qualities. So Buddha Dharma is like an ocean. The Buddha's enlightened activities is like ocean. It never stops giving rain every year. Much more rain than the earth needs, So all the qualities, all the crops, all the thousands and thousands of tons of all these fruits and all the grains that we grow all came from the gems of the water, gems, the vapor, the ocean, the sea, and like that, all these analogies are the mighty sea is a deep meditative state of Buddha, and the gems are the realization that we were talking about. There's 64 qualities. All those 64 qualities, a gem like excellent quality, is lit with the sunlight of merit and wisdom. So the unceasing activities of Buddha is like the sunlight of merit and wisdom. The meritoriousness and authenticity and valid nature of the Buddha Dharma is shining the world. It's dispelling the darkness in the people's otherwise life. The moment they turn to Dharma, whatever darkness in which they suffered, all are illuminated, is lit with the sunlight of merit and wisdom. And having completely accomplished all the vehicles, meaning the Buddha activities has led and is leading and will lead people according to their temperament on different vehicles. Sarvakayana, Pratyekabuddhayana, Mahayana, Bodhisattvayana. All Buddha himself has completely accomplished those. Because of that, without middle or end, So it's like the Buddha activity is like it doesn't start here and finish here in the middle. It doesn't have any kind of it's seamless, it's boundless. Or it's all pervading, vast, just like the sky. There is no place where the Dharma will be received as a foreign thing, The moment people listen to Dharma, they all feel as, wow, why didn't I hear this before? And it wouldn't be, because people wouldn't say, oh, they see the sky and they say, oh, why didn't I see the sky before? The sky is always there. The sky is always, there is no place where the sky is not pervasive. There is no place where the Dharma and its truth, its usefulness, its enlightened activities will not be perceived unceasingly. There's no time that you don't see sky. There's time, sky is unceasingly there. Likewise, the activities of the Buddha is unceasingly pervading to all sentient beings. To all sentient beings, perfectly seeing no distinction between all sentient beings. Buddha himself do not see any actual difference between all sentient beings except their temporal karmic predispositions. Buddha himself, with the treasure of unsullied qualities, dispelled the cloud like lattices of afflictions and knowledge with the gale force of their perfect compassion. So here it likens the Buddha's power as like a gale force. Buddha's compassion, Buddha's wisdom, these three qualities. The gale force destroys the lattices of afflictions and of knowledge, meaning this is the two obscuration of afflictions and obscuration of knowledge. These are the gross and subtle obscurations. And the gale force refers to the discerning mind that understand emptiness. And when people understand emptiness, it's like so forceful. There is no choice not to pay attention to it. Some people may not understand for a while because of their situation, but those who really pay attention to, it will blow away whatever lattices of their afflictive obscuration and cognitive obscuration in which they are clouded in their lives. So if you understand emptiness, really there's nothing greater power than that teaching of emptiness, because that compassion, that wisdom, understanding emptiness, is the permeation of Buddha's compassion. His compassion is so that people know how to undo them sufferings of self-grasping. The Gale Force is the wisdom. The wisdom of the Buddha's compassion, the wisdom of the Buddha's understanding emptiness is due to his incessant compassion. There's never a time Buddha's compassion is not operational. Buddha's compassion is always omnipresent. And so it's not like only on Wednesday night you do Avalokiteshvara practice, I feel like doing compassion tonight. It's not like the Buddha's compassion is always on. Buddha is always online. Buddha activities always online, So you better zoom in, You better zoom in, whether there's Zoom session or not. Buddha activities are always there, The Gale Force of wisdom discerning emptiness will blow away your lattices in which you are completely trapped. Poor me, that, his habit, my addiction, that was a loss. All of those, you thought that it would take ages to get rid of. Wait a minute, Wait until you pay real attention to the understanding of the Heart Sutra and emptiness. It is the most profound, compassionate teaching. Buddha is constantly making this, it says, this mantra that stops all sufferings, Why? It's the understanding of emptiness that destroys your wrong knowledge and grasping to the aggregate as me, feelings as permanent, all these wrong knowledge, meaning obscuration of knowledge, grasping to body, name, gender, color as self, that kind of wrong knowledge are all destroyed by the Gale Force. Sometimes you should rejoice those Gale Force that has uprooted the trees. I wish there was a wisdom that will uproot my tree of self-grasping. Yes, see, Asanga is using these analogies so that you and I understand, to uproot, because the sufferings are so deeply rooted, Did you notice how difficult it is to remove your little tree? You need to get the tree person as well as whatever the thing it takes one that uproot, The tree guy only cuts the tree, but he doesn't take the root. But the root remover is another guy. So wait until you see you're discerning, when you understand emptiness, then you can see that is the perfect compassion of the Buddha, who is compassionate to you because you don't understand emptiness. And when you have paid attention to that, then the knowledge of a lack of inherent existence of yourself and afflictions and object and subject of afflictions will be completely destroyed, like cloud like lattices. Many banks of clouds, many banks of clouds, very thick, Dispel them. Why? Because Buddha has treasure of these qualities we mentioned before. So that's why Buddha, the unceasing activities. We always need to look at our notes on emptiness and compassion and meditate on them. And there is, you will find all of a sudden it empowers you how to completely uproot your sadness, your hurt, your pain, your wrong views, and so on. So that's just this brief description of those two activities, the spontaneous activities and unceasing activities. Now the detailed description of that, the detailed description of spontaneous activities and unceasing activities. The verse number 282, the spontaneous activities. The sage, the Buddha, is always spontaneous, since the thought of for whom, by what means, through which training, where and when do not arise in his mind. Buddha is always asking these 5 fundamental questions. So spontaneous activities, like the example I gave you about how the girl who's infatuated with the Ananda was trained. Buddha knows exactly for whom I'm going to speak to. So she's the one. By what means? Using her real, her very passion. Through which training? He wanted to use the very thing. He doesn't want to bring another training. He wanted to make to see the real problem that she has. He wanted to use that itself as the training. He will make her to see that the solution within the problem. Yeah, within the problem, because she wanted his body, and he showed her whole body. Buddha revealed her the whole body, from the eye with eye wax and ear with ear wax, and the list goes on. She didn't realize that was all. There was that much. Then she realized, why would I desire all of that? By what means, through which training, and where, and when. There is not a time that these things does not arise in it. He's always timely, always accurate. The spontaneous activities. So that gives it's a very succinct verse, that one, succinct verse. And then the next one is, whose temperament should be trained by using, which of many training techniques. So now this is talking about how the unceasing activities of the Buddha is. He's saying whose temperament should be trained, What kind of elements or interests they have, by using which of the many training techniques, because there are many techniques. He could have taught other things, but no, he knows exactly how to tailor the particular training to the very particular individuals, like the lady, and through which actions, where and when, on what occasion they should be trained. Buddha has carefully, skillfully and very very unceasingly. He's that kind of these 5 fundamental questions of who. Why, how, where, and when. All of those things, they never are not timely. There's always timely. So these things are all handled. Now this unceasing activities will be further elaborated. Further elaborated by looking at this. It says here, it is devoid of conceptualization with regard to 284. So this is talking about, it refers to the Buddha enlightened activities. Buddha's enlightened activities is devoid of ordinary conceptualizations with regard to six factors. These 6 factors is, the first one is true release. The true release refers to the actual liberation. Because Buddha himself has experienced complete true release, therefore his own former practices, training through the enlightened activities, how he trained. So that would be the path that he himself reached, yield true release. And then its support. That means what made the true release possible was the true support. The support is the true accumulation merit and accumulation wisdom. Because Buddha also achieved the release. Release means moksha or liberation. Your liberation is achieved by the two accumulations. So the support is two accumulations. So and the fruit is the fruit is the enlightenment, because if you have accomplished the true accumulation, then there will be the fruit of attainment of body. The fruit is body. And then complete possession refers to that when you have achieved the enlightenment, the cause of the enlightenment, such as the bodhicitta, and inclusiveness of the bodhicitta, so that he can engagingly help every single sentient being, without exception of anyone, is all his domain. So that's why complete possession, meaning all sentient beings are possessed by the Buddha's vision. Complete possession means Buddha's fruit of enlightenment is pervasive to engage and possess all sentient beings, because there is no enlightenment. Buddhahood, perfect Buddhahood, is not achieved unless your full bodhicitta for the sake of all sentient beings are completely accomplished. So therefore, it is what is complete possession. Complete possession, and its obscuration, meaning the enlightened activities of the Buddha, which is uninterrupted, unceasing. What it will do is it will remove all the sentient beings' obscurations. The sentient beings have obscuration to achieve the body, and therefore the unceasing activity of Buddha is that they will remove the obscuration of sentient beings, its obscuration, and the condition to sever them. So the obscurations of sentient beings is never too much. Buddha do not see the obscuration of sentient beings inherently existing as a permanent problem. And we do. We think we are in deep trouble. We think it's going to take ages or never going to happen. So we're so pessimistic, aren't we? Buddha would not see that. There is not a single thing he could not sever. He said, the condition to sever them. Buddha has the wisdom of his enlightened activities, which are so uninterrupted and spontaneous, that his compassion is so great for sentient beings who has been stuck with those suffering, bound by those suffering. So therefore, greatness of his compassion will be so forceful to sever the suffering from continuing anymore. So unceasing activities is because severity of sentient beings, suffering of sentient beings is the cause of the Buddhahood. And Buddhahood is not cause of Buddhahood. Suffering of sentient beings is cause of attaining Buddhahood, motivation of Buddhahood. Therefore, there is not a single sentient being suffering which is not to be severed by the Buddha activity. So it's so people say that. People say that. I think we should say that too. People who have refuge in the Dharma, they should say that some things are changing in their life. They should say, "This is Buddha activity is blessing me." It's not so much kind of esoterically saying. But because you have reconstituted your mind by believing the Dharma and knowing a little bit of understanding of emptiness and practicing bodhicitta, it is shifting. You couldn't believe you're losing your anger or wrong view. And you thought you were going to stay angry for a few more days or weeks even, have no intention of getting rid of it in a few years even. But for some reason, it has severed. It has completely destroyed as no sign. It is a thing of the past, You just couldn't be bothered anymore. You don't want to stay foolish. You just knew how not to. The teaching has made you so much change. It just completely snapped you. Yeah, you have no root of suffering. Why? Because these are the 6 practices with regard to which Buddha do not have any. He doesn't need to conceptualize. These things unceasingly happens. So long as we ourselves are have a solar panel. That when we put the solar panel, we will get all the solar power. There will not a single person who would not get advantage of the solar power, because there's incessant, constant, spontaneous activities, particularly if you have the power to get rid of those clouds in the sky that doesn't allow you to have some sun. The gale force, you have the gale force, remember? Gale force to drive away all the clouds and bring a bright, clear sky. And there will be the sun. And it will sever all of the, what you thought was a very difficult problem to remedy. So, now, to elaborate that even more, those 6 analogies, now those six analogy will be elaborated here. We already gone through that. The true release is the 10 levels. So true release means that that one Buddha who himself is true release means he has already achieved the 10 bhumis. Yeah. So we were talking about true release means true enlightenment. So true release is when you achieve the 10 bhumis. True release is the 10 levels, and their cause is the true accumulation. Yeah, true accumulation of merit and accumulation of wisdom. So you can see that now the cause and effect, because the result is the true release, and the cause is the true accumulation. True accumulation. To accumulation, the fruit is supreme enlightenment. Yeah, the Buddha's attainment. So, because of the cause being fully accomplished, accumulation, merit, and wisdom, then the fruit of enlightenment is as yield. Yeah, so the fruit is supreme enlightenment, which completely possess sentient beings. Yeah, then the enlightenment possess meaning domain. It can now universally pervade all sentient beings. There is not a single sentient being that is excluded. That's why Buddhists who have taken bodhisattva vows, all sentient beings are object of compassion and loving kindness, and object of practice of love and compassion. So Buddhism don't promote finite love to one level. That's not love. That's just samsaric attachment. That's just samsaric business. But in the real love is not the one we feel for one. That is not possessing. That's just small. That's just one. This is Buddha's love is like the sun's light. Sun's light does not discriminate way to shine, way not to shine. So it is everywhere. So that's why it uses the word completely possess sentient beings. All the time, whether sentient being come to the Buddha or not, the Buddha's intent is inclusive of all sentient beings. They never have to register to become Buddha's disciple. They're all his subject in his mind. So there's not a single sentient being. Single sentient being who is not. They're all admittable disciples to the Buddha. So that's why you can't refuse people of low caste or people who have committed murder. They are allowed, So in normal societies, you have all eligibility criteria. So you're not eligible. You're not eligible for in the eyes of Buddha, all sentient beings are eligible. Why? They're all suffering. They're all suffering. So because they're all suffering, there's not a single sentient being discriminated against. Yeah. So that's which completely possess all sentient beings. That's the fourth one. And the fifth one means infinite obscurations are the afflictions. Yeah. So all those sentient beings has to be possessed by the Buddha, because all the sentient beings are suffering from infinite number of obscurations, infinite number of afflictions. So afflictions they don't even know they have. Sentient beings have infinite afflictions, infinite downfalls, and most sentient beings do not know that. If they think somebody have one affliction, they think it's too much. and they get startled, shocked as they saw a flaw in one. Most Bodhisattva practitioners, if somebody points your one flaw, you should feel thankful because you have many more that you haven't discovered. Thank you for helping me to discover my flaws. So because someone has been hiding them for you. so Bodhisattvas, Buddhas see the infinite obscurations, infinite afflictions of sentient beings, which are obscuration. Yeah. So the sentient beings got lots of obscurations. From seeing the truth, from practicing compassion, from learning to change their views, they have so much fixations. And they don't want to change their views. But the moment they hear the Dharma, and true Dharma that is ascribed to Buddha, some people think the Dharma is his knowledge, he had a dream, he saw the teaching in dream, and he's giving something extraordinary the Buddha didn't give. I hope there wouldn't manifest any such people, thinking they have discover some teaching in a dream or something like that. Sometimes Tibetan Buddhism has these sort of things. I can't handle that. I'm such a un-Tibetan Tibet. I can't accept those things. I really protest these things because why they are not contented with just Buddha? Why they have to make it more esoteric and make it all this pure vision stuff, all this discovering things are rocks. Buddha gave everything already in India, and it's complete and spontaneous and incessant. Someone has to dig from rock to find that Buddha didn't teach spontaneously. What are you talking about? So there are lots of things in Tibetan Buddhism we need to sort of separate from the grain and shove, demystifying, and people try to make it very too esoteric. Sure, the spiritual realization practice has certain esoteric things, but when it comes to teachings, some esoteric teaching on top of that Buddha didn't teach, that Indian masters didn't teach, some people discover in rocks and mountains, trees, and their dreams. Sure, it's a very nice idea, but they should really go and talk about the Buddha, and then there isn't anything that is not covered by the Buddha. Not only the root afflictions, that secondary afflictions, and the latencies, that means deep-seated propensities, pakchak, these avaranas, very obscurations. We talk about, in the West, modern they talk about PTS, sort of disorder, but these are subsequent, post-event disorders. They're not getting over the thing happened a long time ago. They still are suffering the latencies, the thoughts, the emotions, the memories, the fixed views. They're suffering all of that. All of these things will be severed. We will be severed. So will the destroy. See, the great compassion is the condition that destroys them. So therefore, we have to unconditionally take refuge and follow the Dharma. Through meditation, through self-discipline, through study, without compromising, without thinking this is not for me and then change. People are so shallow as they can change clothes. Dharma isn't something you put on today and then not in few years' time because things are not working with your personal life and with some people. Dharma isn't some garb that you can put on and take off. Dharma is something that is so difficult to find, so rare to find, and so rare to find refuge. Once you find the refuge, it will destroy all your problems. Never mind how big they were, never mind how severe they seem. Sure, some people whose association, the suffering that you have, afflictions that you have, karmic secondary obscurations you have, hindrances people create to each other, they will still be there. But the great compassion of the Dharma will really destroy them if you start to cultivate the compassion with accumulation merit to yourself and wisdom. If you don't accumulate merit and wisdom, then it's not some Buddha activities isn't some that give free lift to people or free hand to somebody. No. Buddha said, I teach you the way. Buddha simply shows the way. The enlightened activity is showing the way unconditionally, incessantly, and spontaneously. The sun is shining all the time, but if we don't put a solar power, it doesn't do anything. So sun is shining continuously, uninterruptedly, but if we don't switch on or put the right stuff, it wouldn't do anything for us to generate any heat or any energy. So like that. So if you don't have the right technology, just putting a little piece of metal on the thing is thinking it's solid, it wouldn't work. It has to have the right stuff. So we need to also accumulate the right causes, the condition to truly see, say the compassion, the great compassion will dispel. It says dispel and destroy. That is the condition. So that is the condition to sever them. So those two verses, 285, 286, elaborate the meaning of the 284. So that's the nature how this text is. It takes a little bit brief and then it elaborate that with those analogies. Now to elaborate even more, brief with another. These 6 points should be known as. So these 6 points, which I have numbered them. In Tibetan text they never number, so it's sometimes very difficult to know what's going on. So with the commentary, you can actually see the 6, and these 6 points, which is points, should be known as respectively. Now, this is how they are trying to explain that these 6 points, which we went on the page 284, the verse number 284, are respectively the first one, the true release is an ocean. Second, the support is the sun, and the fruit is the space. Complete possession is the treasure, and obscuration is the clouds. And the condition that destroys is the wind, the gale force, So you can see these are all there. It now explains to 87 which of those six points are analogously should be understood by these six, respectively like the ocean and so on. And now it's going to explain even further. Remember, detailed explanation of concordant qualities with the 6 analogies. For instance, the 10, the levels meaning the 10 bhumis. The levels meaning the 10 bhumis, which we have talked about, are like an ocean. Because ocean is so deep and vast. Likewise, all the qualities of the 10 bhumis are very seldom achieved, Even His Holiness Dalai Lama, he does not admit that he has achieved even the first bhumi. He says he has aspiration. He has faith in these qualities, but he has not realized them, So, of course, His Holiness his quality is very modest. That already is an ocean. That already is an ocean in itself. No Buddhist practitioner if they're genuine disciple, even if they have really realized emptiness, they never will say. We had such instances in recent years. Some student in modern said, "Oh, he realized emptiness or something." This is completely not having the right merit. Maybe intellectually he probably think he's so. But actually, if you have merit, you don't blow it away. The merit saying that you have, you just say, I'm aspiring to realize a first bhumi or realize emptiness. Why? It's so deep, like ocean. The levels are like ocean. Why? As its waters are, every drop of the waters, the primordial wisdom, every drops of the water of the vast ocean, which are the qualities of the 10 bhumis, are the qualities of retention of the wisdom, compassion, realization of impermanence, realization of no self, realization of no self. So it's talking about drops of wisdom and knowledge, the qualities, yeah? Waters are primordial wisdom which possess gem-like qualities of ocean. Yeah, we were talking about gem-like quality. Not just the gems in the water, but the gems it produced by the water of the ocean. The vapor, the steam of the water, the ocean goes up and then causes the rain in the world, and whole drought-stricken places all become crops and plants and fruits for the animals, the humans. Your clothes comes from that, your food comes from there. Everything is a gem. I mean, where will all these foods and the woolies come from? They don't just come from earth. If the ocean doesn't produce the, ocean wasn't as deep as it is, no ordinary lake would produce this rain, I'm telling you. So the volume and the depth and the vastness of the ocean, because that's why our earth is a living planet and it can support all these living beings. Why? Because the ocean is so important, water is so important, as is all the other elements. So why this kind of analogies is no random. So that's why this the Buddha activities is like the gem-like qualities of ocean. And all these gem-like quality of ocean, to accumulation are like the sun, as they sustain all sentient beings. Yeah, the to accumulation is like the sun. Without the sun, even the rain would not be able to produce all the fruits. Some fruit wouldn't grow unless there's sun. So you need sun and the rain. Without the sun and the rain, you wouldn't have all the sentient beings having enough food to eat and clothe. And all these things are the Mother Nature's gift. We are doomed. We could not play with computer chips all the time. No matter how much IT and technology we know, if the Mother Earth does not produce the things, all our even chip-making materials all come from the Earth. And the earth rely on the rain, and rain rely on the sun. If these two does not exist, there is no sustenance, no modern technology, no traditional crops. All our clothes, all our cotton, all of the people want to wear cotton. But what they're talking about? The cotton came from cotton. Cotton came from sun and the rain. So, likewise, here the analogy is given that Buddha activity is that which feeds us. We may have food to eat, we may have clothes to wear, but without the Dharma, we are drought-stricken land. The samsara is drought-stricken land without Dharma, isn't it? So when we talk about dharmically speaking, without the Dharma, we are all drought-stricken. We have all the clothes, we have cotton, we have silk, we have food, we have all of that because of the Mother Nature giving. But you wouldn't believe how many people's lives are completely empty, full of sorrow, and there's just like a land that never produced any crops because there's no compassion, no wisdom in their life. So therefore, the enlightenment. Is like a sky, the vast, being vast. So it means being vast. The sky is so vast, you wouldn't say it started here, it peaked here, it finished here. So it says being vast, devoid of middle and end. You can't say this is middle of the sky, this is the south of the sky, this is north of the sky. If there was no land, there's no way of telling south and east. Sky is too infinite to measure, to have a direction. So that's why it says being vast, devoid of middle and end. Enlightenment is like space. Yeah. So the qualities, the activities of the Buddha came from his enlightenment. Remember? So all these activities of the Buddha came from the enlightenment, and enlightenment is so vast, so incomprehensible. So you could not comprehend. You could not even fathom. It's unthinkable. It is unspeakable. It is transcendental. It is just peace, It is the mother of all the Buddhas. Without the enlightenment, there is no enlightened ones. So every other great luminaries of India and so on and Tibet, they are only beneficiaries of the Buddha activities. If they have no refuge in the Buddha, they would have died like Annie, John, and Mary and gone to lower realms. They would never have been revered as lineage gurus and have their face drawn in the tankas. Why all those pretty faces in the tankas? Because they have been affected by they've been affected Buddha activity. Enlightenment, the Buddha made those shepherds in Tibet, those peasants in Tibet very important. It's not because they were anything extraordinary from themselves, but Buddha activity have completely made all of them so special. Yeah. As the nature of sentient beings is perfect enlightenment, it is like a treasure. All sentient beings are potential treasure as soon as they access Dharma. So all the Indians, all the great, quite a lot of the people, the Buddha disciples of the Buddha, they were criminals. They were terrible people. They were mass murderers. Like Angulimala was mass murderer. the lady I was talking about, the Baba chasing Ananda, was basically she wanted to disrupt this poor monk. Everyone who come to Dharma, he turned them into treasure. Why? Because never mind what is their temporal predicament were, but the moment they met the effect of the spontaneous and unceasing activities of the Buddha, they were all changed. You see? They were all changed. Like a treasure, enlightenment. And every sentient being is the nature of every sentient being is perfect enlightenment, meaning they have potential, they have Buddha nature, and it is like a treasure. So, because without sentient beings are like a land, and without digging the soil, you wouldn't find the treasure. So sentient beings deep down has Buddha nature. Out surface, they have so many problems. So we should be kind to each other, no matter what problem people have, what karmic kind of obstacles they have. We should not lump them with their goodness. Their goodness is still Buddha nature. They too have a goodness, and hence we should not mind their surface, the conventional problems, and look at each other with a greater kindness, with which then we can find the treasure in each other. Because some people find the problems between their lives and somebody is terrible crisis. Wait until you really discover Dharma and bodhicitta, and you practice compassion and tolerance. Then that becomes blessings. I have heard people who say it's a crisis that they have to give up their job and then have to then go and full-time caring for the difficult mother. But then later on, she changed her mind. She thought that was a crisis because she lose her job. She has to become full-time carer. First it was a crisis, and then it became a blessings. When did it blessings? Because she found she just on the surface she was moaning and groaning, but deep down she really cared for her mother. When she really come to realize and willing to practice that, then the problem became a bigger solution. Had she not thought through these teachings and turned to practicing repaying the kindness of mother and so on, it would not be possible. So, but unless person is influenced by the enlightened, spontaneous and incessant activities, the Buddha activities, the person will still think it's a burden, resenting every day, and almost wish that was the last day, and then about to nick off, about to run. A lot of people like that. They're just about to run off. They're always seeking opportunity to say, run off. I can't do this anymore. It's not the thing they do. It's the different reason and motivation which they do. When they want to do other things, they got the power, they got energy, they got motivation. So what is lacking them? They have to rekindle their right intention. They have to rekindle the cause, the accumulation merit, and the wisdom. And if they remember to accumulate merit and wisdom, then it is because of the Buddha's compassion that this teaching is enabling them. I have a deficient merit and a lack of wisdom, and I need to work on that. As soon as the sentient beings, turn that direction, then the crisis, the problem, the obstacle, that they didn't want to do anything, now becomes the breakthrough, cause of the breakthrough. This is what it's talking about. Like a treasure. And being adventitious refers to the obscuration. We were talking about obscurations. The obscurations of sentient beings are adventitious. They're not permanent. They're not truly existent. Being adventitious, and because of that pervasive and non-production, meaning the mind itself is not the mind itself is not truly produced. Mind is not produced. If anything is produced, it usually produced from something. If like this is produced from certain metals or certain material. But the mind is not produced by anything. There is no cause that produced the mind. So mind is not produced. But yet it is so pervasive. The pervasive means mind is everywhere and nowhere, really. The moment you think mind is everywhere, but yet it is not something that is produced and inherently existing. It is not even relatively existing, because everything that is relatively existing has a form and color and shape and density, a texture. You can see, you can listen, you can smell, you can taste, you can touch. The mind is not is intangible from any of the five sense organs. So because of that, the obscurations are adventitious. Afflictions are like clouds. So that whatever the afflictions the mind has, these are like cloud, temporary condition. The clouds are conditions. They are things that condition the clouds to be there, but they are not nature of the sky. The sky is never covered by clouds. Sky never says, "Oh, clouds, go away, you're covering my face." It's only people who are locally looking below the clouds sees the clouds and not the sky. But people above the clouds cannot see the clouds covering the sky, So therefore, clouds like afflictions are temporary. So we must be kind to others. Even if somebody is really angry to you, you should think their obscurations are like temporary clouds. and being consistent to dispel them, compassion is like a mighty wind. Yeah. So this is talking about the powerful wind of compassion. A powerful, mighty wind of compassion. The compassion is so strong that it does not stop any clouds of problem lingering in this empty, vast space. So that's the detailed explanation of those 6 analogies. And now the summary is: since their release is for others' benefit, so that meaning that the enlightened beings who have achieved the Buddhahood, who have achieved the 10 bhumis, their release is for others' benefit. Like Buddha's, even enlightenment, even his penance, his 6 years retreat is for the benefit of others. He never sat there thinking it's for him or like that. There was no any agenda for himself. His release is for the benefit of others. His cause accumulation merit is for the sake of others. His realization of emptiness for others. When he taught this teaching to her, is for the benefit of others. Buddha's teaching didn't help Ananda when he taught Ananda. His teaching didn't help only that person. His teaching is still for the benefit of others. So therefore, what it's saying is we too have to do something, even to helping one finite person. We should do that for the benefit of others as well as to this person. We should be inclusive of that. Since their release is for others' benefit, they see the equality of themselves and beings. So the enlightened activities are, they don't see their own activity. They don't say, I have my own agenda. What do you want to do anyway? Tell me, you do what you like. They say, I have no agenda. I don't want to do nothing for myself. That's all for everyone. So Buddhas do not discriminate. He's sitting under the Bodhi tree and going through the hardships is no less purpose for you and me than for him. There was his own purpose. He wasn't have to impress anyone for the sake of himself. It was for everyone. So this is what Buddha's enlightened activity is, because they see the mutual benefit of himself and all sentient beings. Since their deeds have not been fully completed, so meaning the Buddha activities has not yet completed until each and every will of the sentient beings are fulfilled. So that's why it is incessant. Buddha activity could not stop, could not be not spontaneous, because the number of sentient beings are still languishing and there's no sign of them turning toward light very quickly. So therefore, it is not fully completed. Since their deeds are not fully completed, that's why we too have to do. We too can't say, I finished, that's enough, I can't do this anymore. That's ordinary sentient being talk about that. The Buddhas never talk about that. Their enlightened activity is not completed. Their activity is unbroken until end of samsara. So therefore, Buddha activities does not end until all the samsara is completely emptied. The emptyability of samsara, the possibility of that, is not that great, but they're not impatient about it. However, it long takes, if samsara doesn't end at all, still the Buddha would appear in another eon to appear another Buddha to continue the way he left the past. So that's why the Buddha activity is continuous and uninterrupted, all pervasive, because of the particular sentient beings a sort of set of situation doesn't permit them, because all sentient beings, until each and every sentient beings are completely liberated, that the Buddha activity will not stop. So their activities is unbroken, means incessant. The river is continuously flowing. And likewise, Buddha activity is continuously flowing until the end of samsara is seen, if there is that. Okay, now it's going to be elaborated even the Buddha activities. Now these two activities, the spontaneous activities and unceasing activity that has been explained thus far, is going to be elaborated even more by these 9 analogies. We are full of analogies in this book. Yeah, this book has lots of analogies. So, so it says the Tathagatas. So the Tathagatas activities, Tathagatas activities. Tathagatas are means Tathagatas activity. Those enlightened, incessant, uninterrupted, and spontaneous activities of which we have talked a bit are like Indra. The drum sound, the cloud, the Brahma, sun, precious gem, music, space, and earth. So there are these 9 analogies. These 9 analogies are going to be explained. So from here onwards, what it does is each of these 9 analogies is explained as a particular qualities. For instance, when it talk about the first one, the Indra. So Indra is talking about how the Buddha activity manifests in a physical form like Rupakaya and Nirmanakaya and Sambhavakaya, Rupakaya. How the two kayas will manifest like in the form of in the form of Indra. And then it talks about drum sound, how verbally the Buddha would teach like a drum. Whatever sound in which Buddha Dharma is heard and taught, it's all the Buddha's enlightened activities. You can say all Zoom is Buddha activity. All the Zoom is Buddha activities. Yeah. Because otherwise you wouldn't hear the drum sound in Holder. You wouldn't hear in Rockhampton or New Zealand or in England or wherever you are zooming in from. You wouldn't hear this unless there is this all these causes and conditions. All these causes and conditions. So the drum sound means the sound of Dharma is so audible. Among many sound, you can listen to many things. Wait until you hear Dharma. It wakes you up more. It wakes you up more and many times, many levels than any other sound will. So that's the second analogy to do with the speech of the Buddha. And then the third one, which is the clouds. Clouds is to do with the Buddha's compassion. The compassion of the Buddha is so big like clouds. It is such a big clouds, it will rain everywhere. Because without clouds, there's no rain, yeah? So the clouds is everywhere. Buddha's compassionate clouds is everywhere. So we have the qualities of Buddha's in Buddha activities, physical activities, verbal activities, his emotional activities. Emotional activities is the clouds. Emotional activities is the compassion and compassion, loving kindness, compassion. And then fourth one is manifestation. His Nirmanakaya manifestation is Brahma. Because Brahma is the worldly gods who perform many miracles, who always do many miracles, even during the Buddha. Brahma really got most of the job. Most of the job for Brahma to perform the miracles. So meaning that all the miraculous activities of the Buddha's manifestation come through some worldly gods do the work of the Buddha. So that's the Brahma is to do with the manifestation. And a sun is to do with the wisdom. So we have physical, verbal, emotional, manifestation, and then the sun is the wisdom, radiation of wisdom. The radiation of Buddha's enlightened activities and wisdom is like the sun. Like the sun, it just covers everyone. It ripens every fruit. It dries everyone's clothes. It gives warmth to everyone. So the Buddha activity is the sunlight. People want to have north-facing house. But in Buddha Dharma is not only you have to face north, and Dharma comes from the north. It's not like that. Dharma is every direction. It doesn't matter which direction you face, as long as you switching on the wisdom discerning emptiness. You switch. Sun. Precious gem is the secret bodhicitta, heartfelt quality of Buddha. That is the gem. That is the gem. Precious gem is the most precious gem of the secretness of the Buddha's mind. Incredible, indescribable. Bodhicitta is indescribable. We can use the bodhicitta, but it's a secret. Its gem is secret. Why? Because people usually keep the gem separately, secretly, somewhere in the maybe not on the dining table anyway. People wouldn't put the gem in the shoe rack, People will put the gem somewhere secret, And they have saved, but then nobody knows the code. So the bodhicitta is the secret, Even when Vajrayana teachings are given, we call secret mantrayana. Vajrayana is nothing secret. It's only to instigate your bodhicitta. They give you the Vajra, they give you the moon disk, relative bodhicitta, and the Vajra on your heart is the ultimate bodhicitta. It's all trying to teach the bodhicitta illustratively through symbols and symbols and implements. Even some of you remember, I think most of you remember, if you receive Vajrayana empowerment, teacher comes and gives you to imagine the moon disk in your heart, full moon disk, saying that is the relative bodhicitta, and then make you to visualize the five-pronged Vajra in your heart. That's the ultimate bodhicitta. So therefore, the secret, the precious gem is the bodhicitta. Even Vajrayana is a resultant Mahayana that is illustrating the Paramitayana teachings through skillful way by deifying the bodhicitta, emptiness as a goddess. All these things are secret mantrayana. They are only secret to teach bodhicitta. Not secret to teach some deities. Come on. The deities is so that you remember bodhicitta. Deity is so that you remember emptiness. You think deity is so that you can have wealth, so that you can have improvement, so that you have wealth? Some Kriyatantra teachings are taught like that, but I'm not into it. I think you sure there's a beginning. You have to teach those things to people to attract to Dharma, because some people interested in wealth will come to the wealth of deity practices and fertility practices and so on. But in the end, what kind of fertility is that? How many sons is enough for you? If you don't have bodhicitta, you're pretty barren anyway. Even you have 20 sons, but you're still barren, Even you become the king of the whole world, you're still barren, You have no bodhicitta. So bodhicitta is the most precious gem here. Buddha activity teaches people to give rise to their bodhicitta, precious gem, precious gem. And the music is the speech of the Tathagatas. Buddha Dharma is the music of music. It's the music to the mind, to the heart. Those who really listen deep, there is no sounder music, no melodious music than Dharma. Wow. So the music, This means the speech of the Tathagata. Speech of the Tathagata is the real music. Real music. And that music is very melodious. It consoles your sorrow. When people listen to music, they console the sorrow, they feel happy, and then when they come home, they still get depressed again. This is not that kind. This one, wait until you hear the true sound of Dharma, it will rip apart your whole sorrow and its causes. Yeah? All those poorly told sorrows have got no place to keep. Because that music was so pleasant and you can't forget the tune. It's always humming. Dharma sound is always humming, and therefore your life is musically entertained by Buddha Dharma. Sure, you can play some musics, for sure. Every now and then, people like, what music you want to play when the dinner is on? Oh, what do you want to listen? Jazz, traditional, classical, modern, classic, Middle Eastern, Indian. Very good. You can listen to anybody, anything. You can offer, receive them, but the real music is the truth. Truth of the Dharma is that excels all other music. So Buddha activities is music. So next time you listen to music, you should listen more carefully. Do you really want to listen to that, or do you want to listen to the real music? Yes, I will listen to this and the real music with it. Very good. You can put on the jazz, but still listening to the real music. Your feet might be tapping like the jazz music, but your mind is tapping with the real music. So the Buddha activity is incessant. Even you're listening music, the Buddha activity is still incessantly tuning your mind, and there's never a dull moment in your life because you're always in a party. Yeah, you have true joy. Yeah, you have true joy. Your joy will not last. Your joy will not come to an end. Your joy will be in immeasurable joy, like immeasurable joy. We say all beings have happiness. That does not equanimity. Continuously joy, joy that doesn't turn into misery. When the jazz music stops, doesn't mean you get bored. Could you please do another one? No, you don't need those things. Yes, the ordinary music you say turn on or turn off, but this music is incessant, is continuously playing, continuously. Dharma music is always audible. Always you will hear all the time music. So that's the secret of the Buddha, secretness of Buddha's speech, yeah, Buddha's speech, and the bodhicitta is secretness of Buddha's heart, yeah. And now this one, space, is the secretness of the Buddha's holy body, Kaya Guhya means secret of the Buddha's body is the space, even space is the Buddha. Is because space is Dharmakaya, remember? And without Dharmakaya, there's no Rupakaya. So Buddhakaya is always there. Every space is, you don't have to have a big shrine in front of you to feel devoted. The Buddha is everywhere. The secretness of the Buddha is Buddha fills the space. So therefore, Buddha activities makes you to feel the presence of the Buddha everywhere. Not just in front of shrine or go somewhere deliberately to, even wherever you are, there is the Buddha before you. You just quickly visualize, imagine, invoke, there is the Buddha, secret Buddha. Secret Buddha is the space. And earth, yeah, that's right. And compassion is the earth. Yeah. Now each of these 9 analogies, which I've explained, are to do with the Buddha's body, speech, compassion, his manifestation, his wisdom, his secretness of his heart, secretness of his speech, secretness of his mind, and then compassion, which is the earth. Compassion, which is earth that support all the above. Yeah, compassion is earth that support all the above. Now, just read through that. The first of the nine explanation. It's fairly self-explanatory. The manifestation body in the pure realm. So that's the Indra, yeah, Indra. The king of gods. The Indra is a king of gods, you know. Indra means Wangpo in Tibet. Indra means like powerful, but his actual name is also Chakra, his giver of 100 gifts. Chakra. King of gods is giver of 100 gifts. Accompanied by hosts of young maidens are here on the flawless and clear lapis lazuli ground. So we were talking that the first one is the manifestation of the Buddha's body. Buddha's body is like Indra, yeah, like Indra in the heaven of desire realm. He is always accompanied. He's always accompanied by the heavenly maidens, and their ground is pure realm, lapis lazuli, who behold the resplendent victorious palace. All of these gods, Indra and his companion, they all are enjoying the beautiful the palace, divine abodes, other places with various wonders and many kinds of enjoyment and possession of the gods. So this means that that all of them are completely each other. Everyone is, because it's the desire realm, is they always see and witness, behold desirables. There's not a single thing that is unpleasant, undesirable in the heaven. So like that, the Buddha activity. Once those who have eye to behold the Buddha activity, there's nothing that they don't see beautiful in the Buddha activities. Yeah. So just like the devas enjoy the things due to Indra's kind of Indra's array of the realm. Likewise, those who have eye to witness the Buddha activities, there's nothing that is not beautiful. And then how does it benefit? What is the function of the beauty? That's the second point. Thereupon, many men and women living in the earth, upon seeing these appearance, will pray. Then, so when we as a human beings, like we do now, as people always pray to be born there, isn't it? People pray to go to heaven, isn't it? In every religious tradition, they all pray to be born in heaven. People say, could you please pray for him? For what? So that they're born in heaven. And so here, the benefit of the Buddha manifesting his activities like Indra is that they will pray. Oh, maybe also before long become like this God of Kings. People are longing to go to the Indra's pure realms, heaven. To realize the prayer, they properly adopt and practice virtue. So what do? They shun non-virtuous deeds, physically, verbally, mentally. They adopt the virtues of body, speech, and mind, all the activities. And so, in order for them to earn heaven, earn a place in heaven, likewise, that Buddha activity has these activities showing himself. Buddha's physical activity, like we see the Buddha's holy body, statues, all the Buddha beautiful, relics. It makes everybody to not only worship them, make offerings, build stupas, build statues, honor them, and do accumulation merit, so that they shun non-virtuous deeds of their physical, verbal, mental ways, and adopt all the virtuous ways, so that they can gain actual Buddhahood. So therefore, the benefit of the Buddha activity that is spontaneous, that is incessant, in the form of the Buddha body, Buddha body, physical Buddha rupa. So the Buddha rupas are all manifestation of Buddha activities. You wouldn't believe those people who believe in the practice, how much people sponsor, how much people almost compete to sponsor. When the monastery is built in the Buddhist traditional Buddhist countries, they never have to try very hard once the project is on, the sort of small makeshift office might be there, and then people say, I want to sponsor the Buddha image, 7 feet. I want to sponsor the Chenrezig, 4 feet. I want to sponsor the prayer wheels, 20 of them, 40 of them, 30 of them, because they all believe that everyone who sees the Buddha images and the stupas and the prayer wheels and place of study and worship will be sooner or later be affected to meet the Dharma. Because of that, they themselves want to create merit to be born in the higher realms. And they want to purify their karma of sweat and tear of their material possessions for which they work so hard. So they wanted to exhaust their negative karmas and accumulate merit. And Buddhist tradition, therefore, have no shortage of, however poor the villages are, the temple and Buddha images and the reliquaries and symbols are all the time created in order to the villagers to purify their karma. So that's why we have the Buddha images like the Indra. So the Indra is an analogy. The Buddha are manifesting in the form of body, like in Indra does the same magic to create the pure realm and make all the devas, maidens, and gods and goddesses there to be so happy, to the admiration of people on the earth praying to be reborn there. Likewise, Buddhas manifest in the world after his enlightenment in form of what we call holy bodies that we can remember, Buddha Rupas, and then the ordinary people also create the merit to make them, to honor them, to look after them, to maintain them, to house them, to whatever. When people doing that, then people purify their karma, purify the obscurations through the Buddha activities. Yeah, so people are able to. People are engaging in meritorious activities because of the constructions of the Buddha images or the stupas or whatever they are. And through that, people are made more efficient to purify their karma and accumulate merit. Otherwise, they are working so hard with greed, desire, and so on and so on. They do not do any meaningful things with that for the fellow future sentient beings. Because if there is a Buddha image like King Ashoka built to restore many stupas and temples, now after 2,200 years later, people going, wow. This is what he did, and they rejoice. You go to Gujarat, you go to Ajanta and Ellora, same thing. You just barely we know who built them, but the thing is standing there to the admiration of everyone. So all the Buddha Rupas, all the Buddhist monuments are motivated to become the what you call liberator by beholding them. People seeing those images, you wouldn't believe. Some people like Carl Jung, as well as they went to India and they came back changed. They see some of the Buddhist monuments. They just see the ruins. They came back changed. They didn't realize how big the Dharma changed the people and their civilization culture. How much people were changed to carve the whole mountain, the rocks. Ajanta was never made out of bricks. It just completely everything was carved by human hand without any modern machineries. And how they made this amazing colossal temples and murals and statues and incredible things. So these are all Buddha activities. Because people are out of faith. They're completely emptying their wallet, and others rolling their hands, and craftsmen and ordinary people come, and all of them make those things. And this is the visible Buddha activity that is making everybody to purify their karma, accumulate merit, and therefore create, consecrate Buddha rupas and monastery to house them, or stupas, or whatever other symbols of the Buddha, Dhamma, Sangha they are. And that's how the manifestation body, like in the pure realm is Indra, but in this ordinary world, what we have is a manifestation of the Buddha himself, and therefore Buddha gave strict instructions to Ananda and Mahakashapa how to build stupas, how to build Buddha statues, how to consecrate them, what size they should be, and how they should be honored after building them, and so on, so as to maintain the enlightened activity and legacy and its continuation. So we'll stop there. Thank you, everybody. So this very much is also the reason why we are trying to build a small temple. So with that, everybody, thank you very much. Let's do the dedication of merits. Mahayana Dije whatever merit I have begas de lavas to hoda Mahayana Dije courage manju shenyo Azama Trabara de Lava Valove Ode Zamba Ajade Dega Ode Mere Mede Zalembo de Juda Tebe Vede Noya Danzo has been bombarding freely without generation. Thank you, everyone.